My name is Shirley Barry. I'm a lecturer in film at the University of Johannesburg. I have 2 disabilities, 1 paraplegia and 2 is I speak through a speaking valve. I think that what people need to understand about disability is that it's actually the environment that is disabling and not our disabilities that are disabling. Also, attitudinal barriers are often very difficult to surmount because people assume what you're capable of and what you're not capable of.
Dit is belangrijk om dat te maken met die oortremte. Hier aan de moeder praten toe dat die oortremte aan liep leer. Dat is ook belangrijk om niet op te achten.
So in what is difficult particularly is group conversations, group environments, which is obviously an important part of most people's careers. When you're having staff meetings or when you're running a class with my students, it is quite difficult to have a relatively fast-paced conversation. I think a lot of people, students, staff, people in general in society, it doesn't come naturally to them to slow their speaking down and to enunciate their words more clearly and really look at you when they're speaking. And if people could be more aware of how they should approach and speak to someone who has a hearing disability, if we could all do that, the world would become a lot less sort of stressful for people with hearing disability.
So with albinism, your sight is limited. It's not short, it's not long, but it is limited in the sense that I cannot tell detail from a distance. So sometimes when you point out some detail, just be aware that I may need you to really bring it close or something, or I may ask you to adjust the contrast and so forth because I can't actually see detail.
I'm disabled because of stroke. I've got left side hemiplegia. And people with disabilities, physical disabilities, doesn't necessarily mean they are mentally disabled. And the speed for people with physical disabilities is lower than those who are able-bodied. So I think when HODs work with people with disabilities, they must take that into consideration, that their speed is not the same.
Not all disabilities are physical or obvious. I mean, looking at somebody, you would never know if they have a disability or not. So discriminating against somebody with a disability is sometimes unintentional because you don't know their background or their circumstances.
Like within my department, no one knows what to do when I would get an attack like now. So no one knows how to treat an epileptic person except for my manager. If my manager goes on leave today and I get a seizure, which means I'll end up dying within the office.
Having epilepsy, you would never know that somebody's struggling to work on a computer for long periods of time, or have very low fatigue due to the fact that the medication that they take, might have an influence on the way that they need to work. So be humane, be respectful, just treat them like they are your everyday person.
Don't assume, because you might think that you have met someone who is blind, for example, and therefore you know what they need, what their lives are like, what other people's lives are like that's blind, but you don't, because you only met one person. And just as other people, as all people differ from one another, so also disabled people are unique in their own right.
I have a disability as a result of congenital constriction band syndrome. I think that it's important for us as a society to understand that the language that we use in relation to persons with disabilities creates the lens through which we consider disability. And it is important that we either ascertain from persons with disabilities how they want to be referred to, so whether you want to use the personhood approach first, so referring to a person as a person with a disability, or whether they want to use the impairment approach first. So where you would refer to us as a disabled person, and understanding the different terminology goes a long way in how we are perceived in society.
Perhaps it would be suitable that they have some kind of training to make us aware of the kind of disabilities that are within the universities and what is expected of us, each of us, what is expected, what is not welcome, so that we can actually live together as a community of different abilities.
I think that UJ could lead the way to the transformation of the tertiary sector in terms of how staff and students with disabilities are accommodated and treated and valued. I mean, after all, we are the future reimagined.